The engineered treatment processes at the San Elijo Water Campus transforms wastewater that arrives here into clean water that can be recycled or safely returned to the environment. But first, let's cover two things. One, where did this wastewater come from? When you wash your hands, clothes, dishes, take a shower, or flush the toilet, the wastewater travels down the drain and through a network of sewer pipes connecting the homes and businesses in Encinitas, Del Mar, Solana Beach, and parts of Rancho Santa Fe to the San Elijo Water Campus. And two, what is in the wastewater that needs to be removed? Dirt, food, poop, and pathogens like virus and bacteria. So now that we understand the sources of the wastewater and what we are trying to remove using the engineered treatment system at the water campus, let's think about different ways we can separate pollutants from water. Physical treatment involves removing solid material, using screens to catch larger objects, or gravity to settle particles, or filters to trap different wastes. Chemical treatment involves changing the composition of particles in the water. Chemicals are added to the water to change the electrical charge of particles and allow them to stick together to be more easily removed. Chemicals are also used to disinfect the water by killing harmful pathogens. Biological treatment involves using good bacteria to break down organic material like food scraps and poop. Biological treatment happens in our own intestines. For example, when people eat yogurt, which is made of active bacteria cultures, they increase the good bacteria living in their gut to help digest their food. San Elijo Water Campus uses all of these treatment methods to separate and remove pollutants from the wastewater by following a series of 3 engineered treatment steps: primary, secondary, and tertiary. Each of these different steps in the treatment cycle is designed to progressively remove different waste particles or solids, making the water more and more clean and safe. As you can see, with these beakers of water taken at these different points in the treatment cycle, the larger particles or solids that enter the water reclamation facility get progressively removed through each treatment stage, making the water more and more pure. An important part of the engineered treatment system is understanding what pollutants are in the wastewater and how well they are removed through the treatment steps. To do this, samples of the wastewater are routinely collected from different locations in the treatment process and sent to the water campus laboratory. The lab technicians use chemistry to test what is in the water so they can answer important questions. How clear is the water? How much organic material is in the water that can be broken down by good bacteria? Are the conditions right for the good bacteria we're trying to use in biological treatment? Is the water safe? The results of these water tests are used to make changes to keep the treatment operating as it was designed. Now, let's start with the first treatment process, or primary treatment. The primary treatment step uses physical treatment to remove larger material from the water. The water that enters the water campus first flows through a large machine called a bar screen. Larger objects, such as sticks, wipes, and trash, are trapped by the screen. The wastewater then flows to a tank called the grit chamber, where air is bubbled to allow heavier elements such as sand, eggshells, and coffee grounds to sink to the bottom of the tank. These solids are removed to prevent from damaging downstream equipment. Next, medium-sized particles are removed in the primary settling tanks. This is another example of a physical treatment where the movement of the water is significantly slowed to allow gravity to do the work. Heavier particles sink to the bottom of the tank, with anything light floating to the top. A large rotating arm is used to collect the heavy solids that settled to the bottom, as well as floating scum and grease at the top. These substances are pumped out and sent for further treatment or trucked off to the landfill. The wastewater is now ready for secondary treatment. This step involves biological treatment using good bacteria to eat and break down organic particles remaining in the water, such as food or human waste. The wastewater flows into large tanks called aeration basins that are separated into 2 zones. Each of these zones is engineered to support a different population of bacteria to eat the organic particles. We promote the growth of different species of bacteria by providing different growing conditions in each of the zones. Bacteria in the first zone grows best with no oxygen, but the bacteria in the second zone need air to breathe, just like we do. So we supply oxygen to them by bubbling air through the wastewater. The bacteria are separated from the clean water in the final settling basins where they are pumped out and sent for further treatment. The clear, treated water is now ready for the final step to become recycled water. We are now at the third and final treatment step, called tertiary treatment. This step uses both physical and chemical treatment with the goal of removing any remaining particles and pathogens. The water is sent through a combination of highly specialized filtration systems. First up is the sand filters. This is a traditional water treatment process in which the water flows through layers of sand. As the water flows through, the very small particles in the water get trapped in the spaces between sand grains and are left behind. The water coming out of the sand filters is very clear. Next, membrane filtration and reverse osmosis are other filters used in tertiary treatment. Membranes are thin sheets of material that water can pass through, but larger particles cannot. The membrane filtration process consists of membranes that resemble straws with tiny holes. These holes, about 7 times smaller than the width of typical human hair, are small enough to allow water to pass through, leaving behind bacteria and really tiny particles. The clean water from the membrane filters then enters another membrane treatment called reverse osmosis. This membrane process looks like a sheet of paper. With pressure applied to one side of the sheet of paper, clean water is forced through, leaving behind dissolved compounds such as salts. This combination of filtration processes produces a high-quality water for recycling. When the water leaves the set of filters, more than 99% of the contaminants have been removed. This filtered water is then disinfected with chlorine, which is a stronger version of the bleach you add to the washing machine when you do laundry. The chlorine is necessary to kill any remaining pathogens. The resulting water looks very much like drinking water. The wastewater has now been transformed to clean water that will be recycled. The recycled water provides a sustainable local source of water for watering golf courses, the Del Mar racetrack, schools, and parks throughout our community. In a typical year, the Water Campus recycles 500 million gallons of water. What is not needed for water recycling is tested to ensure that it is safe for the environment and then sent to the ocean. So what happened to all of the solids that were removed from the water? All of the solids, also called sludge, that were removed in the earlier treatment steps are pumped into anaerobic digesters. Biological treatment is used to break down the solids and make it safe to be reused. After the bacteria have done their job, the remaining solids are trucked off to be used as fertilizer for non-consumable crops. At the San Alejo Joint Powers Authority, we value our community, the environment, and our local water. By recycling water, we are making sustainable choices to ensure this precious resource will be available for years to come.